Hey, everybody. So, my guest today is Jim Coleman. He's the co-founder of xFusion, a tool that provides startups the customer support they need in order to grow their business. As always, we would like to hear more of the founding story and the strategies that accelerated their growth success. Jim, are you ready to take us to the top?
Yeah, Mike, let's do it.
All right, here we go. So, the first question. Can you tell us more about who you are and xFusion? How would you describe it?
Yeah, my background is in SaaS. I mean, I started out in kind of a local service business and then got into e-commerce a bit, but then spent the rest of my time up to this point in SaaS. So I own a small SaaS called GrooveJar, and my co-founder owns a small SaaS called ShopStorm. And we started building out internal teams to support our own products. And we were working at a point with some other outsourced companies to provide customer support. And we were just kind of underwhelmed with the results. They provided a model that was kind of a per response model. So one agent would be split among multiple different companies. And we were chasing them to get support for our tickets, and it just wasn't going well. So David and I, my co-founder, we built out a team internally, and then we launched that officially externally to serve other SaaS founders back in, what was it? I think May 1st was our first official customer, May 1st of 2020. So we provide customer support and customer success to SaaS founders. So it's tier 1 and tier 2 support. So at this stage, probably 90% of our support personnel have computer science degrees. So we offer quite a technical support for SaaS founders.
Sounds like a great asset for a lot of startups out there. So what's the business model of xFusion and how is it helping your customers?
Yeah, so when our primary customer base is solopreneurs. So think like technical SaaS founders that have built a product, they've got product market fit, they've got some traction coming in, and we like to help them get back to the highest and best use of their time. So the idea is that they're working really hard on answering customer support tickets. They're trying to keep the business above the water, and we can come in and help them handle support tickets as well as back office responsibilities. So we do a broad range of different tasks as well to help our clients. So that's the idea is we charge a dedicated set price per month. It's $29.50 per month for a full-time technical agent. And if the needs are non-technical, it's $2,500 per month. And that's full-time dedicated. We always have a backup agent to help support, anytime that the primary agent is not available. And we also set up the inbox and manage KPIs. But the idea is that we want to help our founders deliver the very best customer experience that they can to the customers, because we really believe in the long run that pays off for brands. So that's our focal point.
And how and when did you start the business? Take us back from the idea to launch.
Yeah, it was really just that we didn't have a good experience working with another couple outsourced companies to support our customers, and we were struggling to keep up with it ourselves. So it was really just a product of our own need. We had gotten to the point in our own businesses that we just needed help with support. We had been doing it ourselves, and we wanted to continue delivering just an incredible level of customer support and customer experience. And this gets into customer success as well. But the point is that we didn't want to compromise the quality of service in working with an outsourced company. So when we couldn't find a good fit for that, we decided to just build it ourselves. And we kind of honed in that process. And we're still learning all the time. But we got it to the point where like, hey, this is really providing value for us. We're confident this would provide value to other founders as well. So let's sort of launch this out into the public.
So really a scratching my own type of business, right?
Exactly. Yeah. Scratch our own itch.
How did you get your first users to your service?
Gosh, the fun thing about a service business, there's a lot of things that are challenging and maybe less on the fun side. But the fun thing is that we can afford to do or we can afford to approach customer acquisition in multiple different ways. So we started out experimenting with just cold emails, and surprisingly, that was quite effective. Our experience largely is in the Shopify ecosystem. So we really understand the Shopify app ecosystem. And we started initially by marketing to founders in that space. And we got some traction with that. So we've experimented with a whole number of different things, including sales outreach. So sort of cold calling and LinkedIn messages along with emails. We've experimented with paid ads on Facebook, which was a flop for us. We're currently experimenting with Google. Experimenting with doing some different content marketing ideas. So just a variety of different things to see what sticks. But it's different. Like it really depends on the product's ARPU, the average revenue per user, and then the LTV as well. to determine like what methods are most effective to sort of bring on new clients to the product.
So when did you find out that the service was really valid and you were really onto something?
I think that moment was when our first customer came to us and said, gosh, like I wish I would have done this so much sooner. I've gotten so much of my time back, and I've been able to focus on areas of my business that I'd neglected for a long time. I think that was when I realized that, gosh, we really have product market fit. There's a need for this. A lot of founders are just drowning in back office responsibilities as well as support. So we felt like it was a product that was definitely needed in the marketplace. And I'll make mention too that there's another distinction. Like, we work with people that really care about their customers. We work with people that are willing and interested in delivering a top level experience to their customers. Just like, living your life. I mean, there's companies that you interact with that it's pretty obvious that that's not a priority. And there's others that you interact with in the US. It would be like Chick-fil-A would be a good example, or Southwest Airlines, where they deliver this next level customer support. And it's really impactful for their brand. So that's what we do. And we love working with founders who find that important as well.
Makes sense. What is your most important acquisition channel to get new customers on board right now?
So far it's been email. In terms of my SaaS business, I've had decent luck in the past. One of the most effective growth channels for that has been a Facebook community. GrooveJar is a product that initially set out supporting local made businesses. So think like local service companies. And the founder of GrooveJar, who was my partner until recent years, Rohan Gilks, he started a community on Facebook and just did an extremely good job of building up a following, and then actually created the product for them. So I think that can be a really good play for SaaS founders to consider, especially when the product is on the lower end price-wise, because you've got to do a lot of sort of homegrown organic things when you can't afford a sales team, et cetera. So I think just different creative ideas like that can be really impactful.
Yeah, totally agree on that. What is your most valuable lesson or fail as a founder, you would say, up to this point?
Gosh, I'm a big fan of trying to be just as humble as possible and admitting that I don't know what will work. I think one of the things that really resonated with me, I was at a conference, LTV conference, back in April 2019, and David Hauser was presenting, and he was the founder of Grasshopper, and he exited for multiple millions of dollars a number of years ago. But one of the things that he said is that he just experimented with a whole variety of different things. He said, we wanted to figure out how we could put $1 into the slot machine, the paid media slot machine, and get $2 out. So, but what was notable about what he said is that, hey, like, what works for me won't necessarily work for you because we're different people. The timing is different. There's a significant number of factors. It's kind of like if someone gives you their winning lottery ticket, as Naval Ravikant says, their winning lottery ticket number is not going to be beneficial to you, right? Like, so the takeaway for me was we've got to just experiment and see what works and humbly approach things and be willing to admit to ourselves that this isn't working. So I think in my earlier days, I was very dogmatic in my approach, thinking that, I will just read this information from this founder, apply that, and it'll surely work for me. So I've since realized, hey, that's just not necessarily the case. So I think it's wise to learn from other founders, but to be humble and to recognize, like, this is just a giant experiment. Let's figure out what works, and then let's just double down on that.
Wow, great lessons shared here. I love that experimentations method. At what stage is xFusion right now in terms of revenue, and how much time did it take to get to this point?
Yeah, we're roughly 300K in ARR. We're shooting for $1 million in ARR in 2021, but we'll see. I'm a big fan of just doing our best each day and sort of letting go of the results. So there's certain benchmarks that we would like to get to, but there's obviously a lot of things we don't have control over, as we've all experienced with COVID this year. And as far as the timeline, we kicked off with our first client in May of this year. So we've been pleased with our growth. I like to say that I was in law enforcement years ago, and we were doing pursuit driving training. And there's something that my instructor said that resonated with me and that oddly I applied to the business world. And he said, smooth is fast and fast is smooth. And the idea is if you go around the track in the car too fast, that you're not smooth, you're going to lose control. And I apply that in business to say, like, I want to move as fast as we possibly can, but not at the expense of being smooth, not at the expense of dotting I's and crossing T's and making sure that we're on top of our game. So things like building out systems and processes and communicating really well, so that's something I always keep in the back of my mind when we're considering growth and growth rate is to, hey, like, let's do this as fast as possible, but not at the expense of being smooth.
Love that. And how big is the team that is working on the service, and what are their roles?
Yeah, so we're at about 20 people now, and the majority of those are providing customer support. We do have a team of team leaders as well, and leadership is a real emphasis for us, and cultivating leaders is a real priority for us. So that's something that we've been focusing on, especially over the last few months. We have some members of our team that handle sales, so they do sales outreach. And that's pretty well it. Like we operate in a way that's really lean. David and I are handling sales, so we have a conversation with prospective clients, and then we don't have a sort of customer success position. We're really overlapping between sales and our leadership team, and that may change in the future. But we're really wanting to operate in a way that's as lean as possible. We really believe in treating our staff really, really well, and we pay significantly higher than average. We have better benefits than average. So the idea is that if we treat our staff well, they're likely to treat our customers well, and the whole thing just operates a lot smoother. So if we can operate in a more lean way, we can afford to pay certainly top of market for our team.
Sounds great, Jim. Well, thanks for sharing the story behind xFusion. Now let's wrap it up with a lightning round of 6 questions to inspire others. Before we dive into today's lightning round, let's hear a quick word from a sponsor. Do you want to build your product the best way possible? Listening to user feedback is one of the best ways to do just that. Upvote provides you with feedback boards which you can use internally or share publicly with your users. It also includes a nifty product roadmap. You are getting a 10% discount when you try out their 14-day free trial and subscribe to one of their plans. Use promo code PIRATES and you are all set. Go to upvote.com and start a 14-day free trial. Now, let's go back to the interview. If you would start a SaaS today, what would be the first action to take?
I'm a big fan of product market fit and building an MVP and evaluating if there's a need. I would even say if there's a way to evaluate if there's a need previous to building it out, that's great. It kind of depends on the founder, and it depends on how much cash they have to burn. In a situation where a founder doesn't have a significant amount of cash, I'm kind of a fan of building up a following in a certain area that you have some expertise, and then figuring out from those people what product they need. And that can be in the Shopify space, local business space. I mean, it's the options are endless, but that's a way to go about it in a more affordable way. Certainly, if you have the funds and can afford to build out an MVP and get some early traction, I think that can be a great way to do it as well. But I'm a big believer in just finding out, hey, is there a need for this? And sort of what's the plan going into that?
Yeah, building up a following and an audience is definitely one of the best ways to go, in my opinion.
Yeah, totally.
What are some of your favorite apps and tools on your computer that you can't live without in running daily operations at xFusion?
Yeah, I'm sure that probably every guest or every other guest says this, but I'm a big believer in Slack. We use G Suite. We use Slack. We put a real emphasis on communication. That's the thing about remote culture, is that you got to prioritize really, really good communication. And we found Slack to be a really great tool for that. I'm also a huge fan, especially in the SaaS space, in terms of providing customer service, customer support to SaaS customers, and that's Loom. So I really enjoy making short videos. So for example, when I handle all of the support on my SaaS because I want to have my ears to the ground and I don't want to lose touch with what it's like to provide support and working with our customers. So I'm a big fan of making screen recording videos. It makes a connection with the customer. It's funny because there may be a question that for me to write it out and include screenshots may take me 10 minutes. But to create a video where I actually show them what to do or even do it for them takes 2 minutes, and it just blows away customers. They just are so impressed at the level of connection there, and it's actually quicker and easier for me. So that one's been a big win.
Yeah, Loom is a great way to communicate with your customers, indeed. What's your favorite app on your phone?
This is kind of goofy, but probably my calculator. my mind is always running. I love crunching numbers and kind of calculating things. So I don't really do a lot of work on my phone in terms of, using applications. Like, for example, on Slack, I much prefer the desktop experience. So on my phone, I'm almost always just calculating things. It's kind of a weird habit, but something that I really actually enjoy.
Yeah, funny answer indeed, but there's a truth to that, I guess. What is your favorite book, which you can also recommend to people that are either starting or about to start a SaaS or a business in general?
Oh, there's so many. I think a great place to start is Jim Collins' books, so Good to Great and his others. I think that he's just done such an extensive amount of research and really understands what makes good companies tick. I'm also a big fan of, like Stephen Covey's 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. That's a classic. Dale Carnegie's How to Win Friends and Influence People is a classic. I think it's really important for founders to know how to sell, to know how to communicate with clients and just interact with people. That's super important. So I think it's good to have the business savvy, but also the savvy on the communication and personal side as well.
What's your favorite SaaS brand?
I really like what the guys at Basecamp are doing, and I appreciate Zapier. I appreciate brands that treat their customers really, really well and treat their staff really, really well. Places that everybody knows are a great place to work. I think that culture just permeates into the customer experience, and I just really respect that.
And what is your favorite SaaS person to follow?
I get a lot of value out of Dan Martell's work. He's got a YouTube channel that's prominent. He spoke at a lot of conferences pre-COVID, and I'm hoping that he goes back to that. But he's got a remarkable story and talks about a broad range of topics. As a SaaS entrepreneur, I think that he's an incredibly beneficial person to listen to.
Yeah, Dan is great and brutally honest. So
yeah, for sure.
Love that. Well, great, Jin. Thanks for your time today and sharing your story with us. To conclude this interview, where can we learn more about you and xFusion?
Yeah, Mike, I appreciate it. So our website is xfusion.io. That's xfusion.io. My email is jim@that domain. You can find me as well on LinkedIn. And I want to say that David and I just really enjoy talking to founders. So we're not salespeople. We're not pushy salespeople. We just love having a conversation, even if it's not a good fit for xFusion. We like talking shop about SaaS and just connecting with other founders. So I would encourage any of your listeners that just want to have a chat to reach out and connect.